Hello everybody, this is Vince and Hugo from Fractal Universe, and today we're here to teach you how to play Symmetrical Masquerade, our newest single that was released last week.
Hello.
So today, like we did for A Clockwork Expectation, today's going to be the more guitar-oriented analysis of the song, so it's basically going to just be how to play the song. And next week we're going to do the more analysis-oriented video. We're going to discuss the arrangement, the music theory and everything. So if you have some more specific question about these kind of topics, I think they will be covered most likely next week. So
let's start with the beginning, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good way.
And for, it's a rare thing for Fractal Universe. We are playing the same riff, and yeah, it doesn't happen so often.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. There are only a few instances where we play in unison at the beginning, but then, yeah, it switches to some kind of harmony, you will see. Hello, Nibartini.
Hi there.
Or Tini Nib. You change your your name, I see. But hello. Okay, let's go with the opening riff. Shall we play it at full speed and then slow it down?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have some sound? Yeah. Let's go. Right. So this is the main riff of the song. It repeats several times, as you may have heard. And I think the most tricky part about that riff is actually the rhythm. Because in terms of notes, there's not so much going on. There are little phrases maybe here and there, and maybe the harmony is a little bit trickier to play.
Yep.
But apart from that, it's mainly being really good in terms of rhythm here.
Hello, Crucifist and Ludo. Hi, guys.
Hello. So yeah, we just started, and yeah, today's going to be the more guitar-oriented lesson for this song, so we just played the opening riff yet. Let's do it a little slower, maybe, and try to feel that basically this is the same notes, but there's kind of this rhythmical displacement which make it tricky to play. I'm going to play it a little bit slower and see how it sounds. Let's give it a try. Right. Was almost going to play the ending. Yeah, we saw the guy, and yeah, I wanted to tell him that we do like a lot of Twitch streams, playing the songs and everything. And yeah, I get his point. It was not a real playthrough, like in the studio, you hear what we play and everything. But yeah, we try to do something a little bit more artistic.
Yeah, since we did a lot of those studio playthrough, and yeah, we just wanted to change a bit.
Okay, back to this riff. So yeah, as I said, the most important thing you have to focus on is rhythm here, and there's especially the second section, because right here you can see it's pretty straightforward. We're in 12/8, so basically this dotted quarter note here is our pulse. So we basically just play on the beat. 2, 3, 4. What happens then here, and this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, is with this section here, where every time we accent the second triplet, And this is a lot trickier to do. So
Yeah.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And it's basically the same notes but played like this. And you see there's a pickup note in the beginning. I don't know if you can hear my foot, probably not, but yeah, I think you get the idea. Here it's really tricky to get the second triplet and to make it stay even. And actually, I think it was tricky to get really tight in the rehearsal room as well. Do you remember?
Yeah. Especially those 2 quarters here, which are not quarters.
Yeah, the two, basically, let's call them triplets.
Yeah, the 2 triplets, yeah. It's really harder than it looks.
Yeah, because you are not, this is especially tricky, yeah, because you are playing every note except for the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this is the most challenging part rhythmically here.
Because this is very unnatural, I think.
Yeah, but basically this riff revolves around that. You have the same idea here. And then it's displaced on every triplet. You're going to see that it's also on the 3rd triplet a little while later. Yeah, it's here.
Yeah.
Where again we have 2 pickup notes to make us land there. And yeah, this time it's on the 3rd triplet. This is a little bit more natural, I think.
Yeah, because it follows the kind of a shuffle thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, much more natural to me.
Yeah, this is, as you said, it's basically the shuffle groove where you play on the triplet end, which is a lot easier, and you have it a lot more in your ears, I think, than playing on the 2nd triplet like this.
Yeah.
So basically what I would recommend if you want to practice this riff is really take it slowly, like we just did. We can even exaggerate that, play it even more slowly until you really understand where the pulse lies. And to answer your question, Nibatini, personally, I very often tap my foot or try to move my body, any part of the body, the foot or the head or like the back or whatever, in rhythm and with the pulse most of the time. So with the... You're going to see it when I'm playing. This really helps me to be fully in the rhythm. You know, rhythm is something really you should feel in the body. If your body is feeling the rhythm, then your hands will be tight and your playing will be tight. And to me, it's very important to move. I don't know if that's the case for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Wiggle the head or tap the foot. Maybe just some short breath on the beat. I do some noise with my mouth to keep the beat in my mind.
Yeah, totally. We talked about that last time, and we said that once you start singing, on top of that, it gets a little bit more tricky to do these breathing noises.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just try it. Just slow it down even more. Just to let's play it again, and try maybe if you're watching this to try to tap the rhythm. Basically, the rhythm is given by the cymbals. The china always hits that beat. Let's give it a try. And it might seem easier to play it slower, but actually it's sometimes a lot harder because it leaves no place for hesitations or for little approximations. You will really, by playing it that slowly, realize how wrong you might play it, how off you might be on certain notes. And this is actually how we also rehearse it all together. When we start rehearsing a new song, actually for most parts, because some may be easy enough to play them at full speed, but for most parts, we play it slowly like that together. And we loop a single part exactly like we did here, but play it in a loop until everybody gets comfortable. Because it's one thing to play it in front of your computer at home, and it's another thing to play it with the full band and be on the same page in terms of groove. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to play it as slowly as we just did. And you try maybe to record yourself also to get really a feeling of what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. That's extremely important to me. And yeah, also try to rehearse like that. Because yeah, as I said, this will really highlight all your little problems in terms of timing. And we do that really a lot.
Yep.
Have something to add?
Nope.
Yeah, as I said, yeah, we do it for almost every riff. We loop it, we play it until we get bored of it, you know. But this is really how you create the feeling of playing together. Because as I said, it's so different. Because when you play with other musicians, you really have to rely upon each other. While when you play it at home, you only have to rely that. You're always going to know that your computer is in sync. But when you play it together and everybody is a little bit hesitating, then cracks might start to appear. And this is exactly why I would recommend to really loop a riff until you feel 100% comfortable playing it. And especially slowly. Because then it's going to...
It does really happen a lot when this is good at home, but not good together.
Yeah, totally. But this is why you have to be as well prepared as possible when you enter the rehearsal room, because there are going to be other problems appearing inside of the rehearsal room in the playing together factor, I think.
That's it.
And not having the same things you can rely on, as I said, the same... I can't find the word, repère.
Some marks.
Yeah, some marks, basically. Okay, in terms of the playing intention here, I would really try to get that bend to sound really bluesy here, the bend you see on the bar. It's basically really a blues bend. You bend up the minor third, slightly sharp, so it's right in between your two thirds. And it's gotta be really gradual. You don't have to bend right into the note, but really make it during the whole duration of the note go slightly up like this. And especially pay attention not to go down again. That's not the right effect at all. And then right after, you really have to dig in these palm mutes. And we try to make them as not staccato as possible. Cannot really say legato, I think, but not leave any blanks between the notes. So we have to find a way to connect everything. There's basically no space in between the notes in this part. It's basically meant to be a wall of sound. So try to pay attention to that. Don't play truly. And then we have the maybe a little bit more tricky part to play here. These little runs here. Basically, you have these kind of ghost notes, palm-muted ghost notes, which follow the rhythmical displacement of the riff later on. But yeah, really pay attention to that. And you see how I'm playing it in terms of my right hand. I really try to accent the important notes with downstroke. I'm doing basically down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, to really have the right notes being accented here. That's sometimes important. I'm a big fan of alternate picking everything, but in some instances, when I really want a certain sound, I deviate from that. And that's one of these instances. Playing the palm mutes downstroked, for example. You really have the exact same sound. And then really paying attention to how the accents flow in this riff to make them sound right. Okay. And as you might know, this riff is later used as the chorus. And this is when it gets especially tricky because we have to sing at the same time as we play. I'm doing lead vocals, but Hugo is also doing the backing vocals.
Yeah.
And that's something really tricky. I deleted the vocal tracks, too bad. But the thing is that the vocals often land on the beat. Let me try. Upon the ridge of sharp cliffs, I stand. Oh, what the cursing winds of fading stars. Under the arch of our cosmological vanity. Oh, what these graveyards expectations. Something like that, and you can see that while on some parts it's fairly easy, for example the beginning, upon the ridge, where basically the words land on the beat, just as the guitar. There are parts where it's a lot more tricky, because the vocals basically land here on these beats, and these are not places where the guitar is accenting things. So in that case, it's again practicing slowly, maybe writing things out. I didn't do it for that particular song, but I would do it if I'm really challenged by something, writing where every syllable would land in comparison to the guitar, for example, here. Because the vocals are basically just doing quarter notes, and the guitar is absolutely not. So this makes it tricky. And again, slowing down the thing a lot helps me, until I slow it down to the point where I can really understand each individual triplet, where each individual triplet is long enough for me to really be distinguishable. Because when you take it too fast, things tend to blend together, and you might not realize you're not exactly on the right spot. But when we slow it down and the spaces between the notes are large enough, you can really realize where your note should be and where you are putting it, basically. How did you work about this?
Pretty much the same workflow, slow, and I have to write down where all the syllables fall against the guitar notes, and that's it. You can do this it's really not natural, because the vocal and the guitar are really not on the same beats, and you can just manage to play it by chance. No, you cannot. You have to practice it really hard and really slow.
Yeah.
It's really a complicated motion. I don't know how to say it. Really complicated series of motion that you can just do naturally. You have to learn it and practice it from the beginning.
Yeah, even for me, I've been like singing and playing the guitar for almost as long as I've been playing the guitar. So you could assume that it would be kind of natural for me to do this. But for some riffs, and this is one of these, I really have to break down everything played slowly. I don't need to do this for everything. There are things where instantly can do both things at the same time. I didn't need to practice them slowly or whatever, but this is really one of the cases where I had to do it. So if there are some singer guitar players out there and you struggle with that, take it really slowly. Maybe try to do things separately, like do the guitar slowly, do the vocals really slowly, so that you really get the feeling of the tempo you're going to practice it on, and then try to do the two together, and put it into very little chunks. Do maybe just the beginning, on the ridge of sharp cliffs, until you're comfortable with that. On the ridge of sharp cliffs, and then the more you're going to do it, the more natural it's going to become.
Yep.
There was really a moment for me where it clicked. I really had to consciously think about it for a long time, and then at one point I realized that I didn't have two anymore, and it had just become like the composite rhythm of both guitar and vocals that has blended together inside my brain, and that's what you should aim for. I don't think I have to concentrate a lot now while doing it, because I practice it slow enough and enough times, basically.
Cool. Great.
Okay. Let's jump into the next part.
Which is the same riff but harmonized. Right.
Yeah. You want to play this?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same thing, at least rhythmically. And for the notes, it's a little bit more tricky than the original riff.
So this harmony.
And the second one goes like this.
Oh.
You've lost it.
Yeah, there it is. It was not on the beginning of this song.
Okay, so this is basically the same problems. The same problems for that the first riff. Instead, there is other notes. This one, 9/5, is more tricky because of the space between the two notes. But everything is, you just have to learn all the notes. Nothing really. I don't have much more thing to say.
Yeah, we're gonna have a look at the actual ways to harmonize it maybe in the next week.
Yeah,
video.
Exactly. The actual musical theory behind it. We'll see it next week. Hello, Jakub from Germany.
Oh, amazing! Have you participated in the contest yet for Clockwork Expectations opening riff? If you haven't seen it, you can win a copy of the record if you play the opening riff. Head over to our social media to find out. And actually, as we speak, talking about this very riff from Symmetrical Masquerade, we're going to launch a second contest. I think it should be up in like half an hour. We're going to again challenge you to play the opening riff.
Yeah, let me check.
The one we just discussed. So yeah, feel free to get any of the tips you got out of this video to help you practice that.
Looks like it's online already.
Okay, so you guys might have seen it.
Yeah. Let me find it and just send you the link on the chat.
Yeah, and we will also release, while you're asking, a tab book for this record as a whole, with transcription for all the instruments. It's basically going to be the file you see on the screen, the same type of file with, you can see all the guitars, all the drum transcriptions, the bass, and all the additional instruments. Yeah, Clockwork is really tricky. That opening riff, actually, I think it's one of the most challenging on the record, especially when you do it on stage and try to bang your head alongside it. So take your time. You still have 3 weeks, I think, to enter. So take your time to get it as tight as possible. It took us a long time to be able to play it correctly. And after that, we're going to move to the couplet part, the verse.
Yep.
And this is basically a lot chiller. As you can hear on the song, there's more of an open vibe to it, which we're going to dissect in next week's video. Let's just have a look at the part itself. Let's play it. Let's play verse 1 at full speed, shall we? Just some chords here.
Nice.
There's one bar missing. What the hell happened?
What?
I don't know what happened here. Anyway. All right. So yeah, I think since there's a bar missing in the beginning. Okay, doesn't matter. In terms of the chords here, it's basically a 4-chord loop with just a little extra throw in the end. And what's going on here is I play a C minor add 9 chord here. So just a bar chord with the 9 thrown in. This is actually not an easy position when you play it down here, for example, because of the stretches. But here in C, it's kind of convenient. In terms of the playing, just try maybe to not strum the chords too hard, but a little softer, and you can hear it giving a little time in between the notes, like a little brush, just to give it more flavor. Same for the rest. So yeah, this is a C minor add 9 chord basically, which is a color I really love. And after that, I jump to a G sharp or A flat minor 6/9 basically. So we have this one here. So you have the minor 3rd, then here the 6th, and the 9th here. So this is basically a chord that's frequently used in like jazz, bossa nova, or gypsy jazz. That kind of colors, which is really, really colorful, really spicy. And then it's basically the same chord moving down to an F and to a D flat here. And then just to loop it, we have a little chord here that is much shorter than the others, just to give a little bit of rebound. And this is basically like an inversion of a G, what am I doing? Yeah, of a G7 it should be. Yeah, exactly. That's why it wasn't working. Really sorry. Yeah. It's basically an inversion of this.
Makes sense.
Just to loop it back here. Apart from that really simple part, just pay attention to having everything be smooth, basically. Play it for 2 bars each. Except for this one, we have that little rebound that brings you back to the beginning. And then we have Hugo's guitar entering on the second exposition.
And yeah, it doesn't add that much harmony or melody, but just more of a texture to the thing. We have a kind of a funk thing here. Just palm muted and you're right.
Yeah, mute the noise gate on the camper.
Palm muted ghost notes here. With just some. This is a B flat and C, I think.
It's basically just notes from the pentatonic scale.
Yeah. And the hard thing here, you can hear it. I think it's to keep all the notes even. Not going like but really ta-ta-ta-ta.
Also try to have the same sound on every ghost note. I think this is important if you really get the feel of that relaxed kind of funk rhythm. This is actually a lot trickier than it looks, I think, to really get in the right feel.
Especially with the guitar alone. Without all the other instruments. But that's pretty much it.
You can see how this funk part really floats over what the chord changes are doing. It stays on the same note, grounding us in this key center of C. More to that next week. But basically that's it. Try to keep the notes really even here. And as we said, this is a funk kind of rhythm. And in French we have a term, a word for that doesn't exist in English. I think, at least I didn't found it. We call these kind of funk rhythms with ghost notes, we call it a cocotte. And it seemed there's no English equivalent for that, which is a shame because it's really like a particular technique, a particular sound, like that kind of stuff. Obviously, doesn't sound good with the hamburgers, but still, yeah, the cocotte. And there's no word for that in English, or I didn't find it. If anyone knows how to call that, please let us know here. And it's a nice example of throwing in elements from different styles, like jazzy chords, kind of funk rhythms into a metal song.
Yep, exactly.
Make it something coherent. Okay, then we just have a little crescendo here at the end that you should pay attention to.
Exactly.
Basically on the cuckoo's chords. Is that for real?
And yeah, it's not written here, but basically I just unpalmute the last couple of notes.
Yeah, it's something tricky to get into notation software, obviously.
Yeah.
But really try to make a crescendo on the ending. Let's play it again, shall we?
Yeah, with all the instrument and stuff.
Yeah. What should I do about this bar? Yeah, I'm gonna manage. And yeah, let's try to do the crescendo right. That is what you should pay attention to. Yeah, that's right. To lead you right into the next part. What I'm also doing is a volume swell at the end on this chord. Actually, we can do it automatically with the camper on stage. And obviously now we are just using the same rhythm sound, so it lacks a little bit of effects and everything. But yeah, try to do the crescendo right. Because I think dynamics are an extremely important part of this song. And you really have to suddenly manage to adapt to the new dynamics when it arrives. And then, again, have this change the other way around the same way. So really try to focus on your dynamics. Pick these chords really soft, and then pick the parts around really harder so that you can really get the intensity out of the pick attacks and everything. All right.
Yep.
Should we jump to the next part?
Yeah, the hardest one for me.
Yeah, this is kind of tricky for you, I guess. I have to be horrible part to play. You have to sing.
Yeah.
You want to do it at full speed?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, we can try it full speed.
Okay, and break it down later.
Yeah. It's really fast.
Yeah, really fast, and you can see the heavy contrast in between those two parts here. But basically, it's the same harmony. You might have recognized I'm playing the same chords. Let's maybe start with my part because it's at the foundation of this riff, and it's basically the same chords, but in a really different context. You have this blast beat, wall of sound behind, and I'm basically hammering all the eighth notes now here. And so on. And you can see again here, this makes it a little bit trickier because you have less time to change from one chord to the next. So I really try to find the right fingerings here, which is basically I can keep this ring finger here in its position and just make it slide to the next fret, and I'm ready for the next shape. So basically here I can keep this. I can also keep the bar chord, if you can see. Although I don't need to do a bar chord because I'm just doing this note here. But I'm doing it with a bar chord anyway because it makes motion much easier. Switching from this to this here. You can see this one could do just this, but it would make it much more complicated for me. So the bar chord is of no use at all here, but it makes it easier for me. And then symmetrical shape going down here. And yeah, try to keep this finger up here, and then you don't have much to do actually. Keep the bar chord, and it will go by itself. But the other tricky part here is the rhythm, because you can see here we have kind of 5 chords, 2 palm mutes, and then we repeat 5 chords, 2 palm mutes, 5 chords, 2 palm mutes, and just here a little something to loop. So if we have kind of a polyrhythm going on here with 7 notes in what would be like a group of 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. But we have this kind of rhythmical displacement going on. So let's do it slower maybe. I'm just going to play my part with the Guitar Pro at the slowest speed and try to see how it displaces in terms of the rhythm, yeah. Let's give it a try. Again, yeah, it's really a matter of doing it slowly, maybe to really get the feeling of this part. Because as you heard, the ride is kind of keeping the cheat, 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 cheat accents on each beat, but the guitar is not. And in terms of playing here, I'm alternating strokes on these here, but then I'm playing the palm mutes with downstrokes. So again, as I said, I'm a big fan of alternating everything, but in that case, again, I prefer to keep the rhythmical cell identical in terms of my strumming, so I'm always going to do this. So always the same rhythm to really give it the same feel every time, you know? And we try to have the palm mutes to sound really even. That's why I'm doing 2 downstrokes here. And yeah, slowly, at full speed, it sounds like this. We should give each individual 7-note cell the same flavor, basically, and not alternating strokes in something that would be like this, for example. Which would also make it a lot trickier to play, I think. And basically, that's it for my part. The one thing I should mention again is how to deal with that with vocals on top. Because again, I'm going to play it maybe slowly and try to rap some vocals over it. Yeah, some little slips here and there, but you see, I think the same thing applies to what we discussed on the intro. Basically, the vocals is more on the beats, while the guitar has this displacement going on. So again, it's just a matter of taking it slowly, looking at where the syllables are going to land. For example, the we came. I'm really going to spot these 2 notes here as my target notes for the syllables. It's really hard there. We came to be where there. And we take it slowly again. The same advices apply for this part as for the intro. And this makes it, again, quite tricky to really get the composite rhythm inside your head. So you really have to stay focused on your motion. That's why I always try to do the same one that I discussed. So that really it becomes more natural than to add the vocals on top. But that's it for this part. Try to keep a relaxed wrist. Only try to really accentuate the two palm mutes here. So they really sound beefy when you hit them. But yeah, apart from that, that's it for my part.
Yeah.
What about you?
All right. This is a series of triplets, just only triplets until the end, and some are open, some are palm muted to give some notes accents, to have some dynamics. Because if we played only just triplets fast during those 8 bars, it can be quite boring if we don't add some accents, some dynamics here. So that's why some of the notes are palm muted. Something like that.
And the accents really follow the accents from the riff as well.
That's it. Yeah.
So basically you have groupings of 7 again here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is kind of tricky to get, especially with this crazy series of notes.
The tricky ones are those that are on the same fret, like those 10s ones. But usually I would use different fingers. But since it's palm muted, it's more easy to control it, to make it not ringing. You see? And that's pretty much it. And the notes are actually following the chord progression, I think.
There are some chromatic notes added in.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you only play the notes from the arpeggios.
Yeah.
So it's basically just arpeggiating the chords I played, and then same thing for the minor 6/9 one. Yeah, it's just arpeggios and little chromatic transitions.
Yeah, sometimes
between the notes. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right, really, Maze. The right hand actually are up and downs, I think. Alternate picking. Since some notes are palm muted, I think this is easier to just let the hand flows with a strictly alternate picking here. It's easier and it helps to keep the... It helps to stay in time, I think. I think that's pretty much it.
Should we play that at a slow speed together?
Let's try 70, yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to get lost sometimes.
I understand.
Slow speed, yeah.
Again, this highlights the importance of practicing slowly.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you don't have the same same things you can rely on at different speeds. And if you manage to do it at this speed, then it's going to be easier when we go back to full speed, actually. Well, not in terms of the techniques, but in terms of your mind not getting lost. So it's a good exercise. Just going to try with a little bit of latency all of a sudden.
What happened?
There's more latency than before, no?
Yeah, it just switched. Oh. Okay. Everything's fine, I think.
Okay, should we do it a little bit faster?
Yeah.
And try to listen to the interplay between the accents of both guitars. So obviously we are not muting and playing the same notes open, but there are common accents between the two guitars. For example, every time I start a group of these sevenths we discussed, Hugo is going to play open notes as well. And some of the notes in between are going to be palm muted, not the same, but we have the same rhythmical accents, the same language in terms of rhythmical accents. Let's give it a try at 80%.
Yep.
And we really end together here. So this is a note you should redo short. So you have the rest after.
Yep.
It's the case for both guitars. It's really important to have this rest here to be really clean. And it's not always easy, but again, it's going to be really important to focus on the dynamic change here, because right after the part we just ended, we jump back to this quiet verse with the same chords as before. So we try to nail the dynamic changes here, going from the heavy part to the soft part, and the other way around as well. This is really going to be your main point of focus in these transitions, getting the dynamics right. All right. Let's jump to verse 2 then.
Yep.
So verse 2, let's play it for once. It's basically going to be using the same elements as verse 1, at least for me. You throw in some new stuff. Sure how you're going to do that, but...
yeah, for that part, if you know the song, all the notes I play are actually doing some little crescendos, little volume swells. Something like that. How is it recorded on the record? Is it some inverted notes?
Yeah. Actually, on the record, these are inverted notes.
Oh, yeah?
So basically just the note being recorded like that and then played backwards, so it goes like...
Yeah.
And you have the attack of the note at the end.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then on top of that, obviously, you add a little fade in, so like that, but on the computer, obviously, to really give it that weird reverse effect, which really works well. But live, you can mimic that pretty well, especially with something like the camper, where you can program a lot of stuff.
That's it.
And I don't know if you have the sound, because we use like the morph function from the camper to make like a volume swell. I think it's... Do you use like a gain swell, or is it like just a simple volume swell?
If it's gain or volume. I think it's gain.
I think so, yeah. So that the note really sounds like this, like
That's
having
it.
more, not just like coming in terms of volume. Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, give me a second. Just gonna try to fix that latency issue.
But basically, I'm just playing the bass notes.
What?
Was I muted? Hey.
You might have been, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything's back. Oh, latency is better.
I was saying that's for the notes. Basically, I'm just playing what the bass is playing.
And what's really important for this part is when you stop the note, actually.
Exactly.
Because most of the time the note is going to stop either on the snare or on the beat. We're gonna play it, maybe just play it without the swells, so people understand the idea.
But Willy is asking, when we say programmed, yep, that's it. Actually, live we follow a click track, and those those volume swells are programmed with a click track. So we just have to play in time, and the programmation does the rest, actually.
I can't show it right now, but maybe I can arrange that next week. But we have basically a MIDI track in Logic, which is the DAW we use live. That changes basically the sounds from the camper, so we don't need a pedal board. And you can also program like volume changes or stuff like mutes in between the songs to make it easier for us to tune, whatever. And stuff like these volume swells can also be automated. So this is pretty convenient. Obviously, you could also do it with like a volume pedal or whatever. We used to do this stuff before, but now we can automate this on the camper. So that's pretty convenient.
And yes,
well, it's not automated on the camper, but also with the use of Logic. If that's part of your question.
The computer, yeah. So it changes all the sound alone. We don't have to press any buttons during our live sets. And yes, no cabs. The camper directly plugged into the mixing thing of the venue.
Mixing desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really life-changing, because before that we used angle amps, basically tube amps, and they sound great. That's not the issue. I totally love the sound of them, but the issue is that you have to put a microphone in front of the speaker. You have, first of all, loud volume on stage, which means a lot of noise in the vocal mics and everything, but the most bothering part of that is basically that you do your sound check, you place your mic, and then maybe there are two bands playing after you or doing sound check, whatever, and then the mic has moved. And if you are doing a little bit of sound, you might know that if your microphone moves by like 1 centimeter, the sound can change totally. So there is absolutely no point in doing a sound check if you don't have the same sound later on. So you have set your sound perfectly, and then the sound is completely different. So this is what drove us crazy with the microphone placement.
But I think the great compromise you can have, if you really like the tube amps, like Obscura and God Dethroned did during our tour, they have cabs on stage for the sound, for the monitor on stage, but the amps are also plugged into cab simulation, which then goes into the mixing desk. So they don't have to worry about the microphone placement, since the cab is actually simulated, and I think it's a great compromise.
Yeah. But these technologies are fairly new, I think, especially the ones they use from Angle were released last year, I think, or so.
Okay.
Or so this option was not too widely spread by the time we were using camper amps, tube amps, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, again, let's jump back to the verse, and I was saying, let's pay attention to when Hugo is going to stop his notes, because that's really important. They are not ringing all the way through, but they stop on very specific moments, and that's exactly what you should aim for.
I hope I won't fail.
Slower or at full speed?
Full speed, I think, is fine enough.
Yeah.
It has some latency, I think, which doesn't help.
I think you can get the idea. This brings me to an important point. It is equally important the moment when you start the note. Obviously, you have to be extremely precise, tight, because otherwise it will lack groove. But it is equally important to pay attention to when you're going to stop your notes. We talked about this in the intro, for example, where we wanted everything to ring together. To really sound full and heavy, to have a wall of sound. Well, in this instance, it's the contrary that is true. You want to stop your note at the exact right moment. On the snare hit, for example, like this one here, This is where the snare falls, and it's extremely important that you have like this little ghost note, or basically the note stopping to ring at this particular moment. And here's the same. It's when the bar starts, you're gonna have this.
Yeah.
This rest here, and also here, for example. So pay extremely close attention to that, and that can also be like a good advice for maybe you to get new rhythmical ideas. Because yeah, as I said, rests are equally important as the note you actually play. When you stop your note is equally important as when you start it, basically. And that's something maybe bass players are more aware of, because they are often like interacting with the drums like that. For example, when the snare hits, cut off your notes at exactly this time or whatever. And maybe we as guitar players tend to let everything ring through most of the time, more than bass players do. But yeah, it's an extremely powerful tool, I think, to be aware of what you can create here.
Hello,
I don't
Claudia.
know if you guys agree. Hello. All right. So this is for the first part of the verse. I'm basically playing the same chords as you just heard. And then Hugo does this other part. I think it's
little
here.
variation of that previous riff. Basically, I'm playing the same notes on the same rhythm, but on every other triplets, I do some ghost notes here. It's not exactly how it's not exactly written the same way I played it, but it's something like that. And we have some fills.
It's basically follow the bass.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
What are the fills?
Maybe it's not updated correctly.
There are some fills here. But yeah, one thing we should mention is that this is not how it's played on the record. On the record, I don't know if you noticed, but these ghost notes are played, but they are switched. They are panned left and right. Like there's a guitar doing and the other doing like the notes in between. We can just show you the effect, for example, if you want.
I'm doing the up one, if you wish.
So some stuff like that, yeah. You see with the
stereo effect.
Stereo effect being very important. And that, obviously, since we are only two guitar players, we cannot do it live because I need to do to keep the chords. And but yeah, on the studio, it's an extremely important part of the sound of this part. We're going to dissect that more next week. But that's something actually quite tricky to play because you have to be really locked in together. Let's try again, just for the fun.
Okay.
3, 4. So
Yeah,
I'm doing
like
the first two triplets.
Okay, yeah.
3, 4.
We did something similar in the verse of Tears of Misanthropy.
Yeah.
Which is also in 12/8.
Maybe we can play it.
Let's try it, yeah.
How do we start that?
Wait a minute. Tear of my pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I start on the second, yeah. 3, 4. Sorry, I can't remember. Oh yeah, okay. 3, 4. It's quite hard without a reference, but you get the idea. This is extremely fun to perform.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is basically what's going on this part. And yeah, to practice that, it's much easier with a rhythmical reference, like a drummer or just a metronome, because yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you really have to rely on the other person totally, and without a reference, it's not easy. You see, we had the tendency to slow down while doing it right now, but it's really fun. We can find a lot of like rhythmical plays if you have a musical buddy. Do some stuff like that. It's really fun to have these rhythmical interactions going on. And this reminds me kind of like clapping music or like There are some. I don't know if you. Oh, I don't remember the name of the piece. But there are a lot of like minimalistic music. I think it's called like a current of classical music called minimalistic music, where you just have like rhythmical motifs like this intertwining together, and it's really nice. I had the pleasure of playing that with a friend of mine some time ago. It's quite cool.
Yeah, I see. I think it rings a bell.
Okay, so this is for that part. Let's play it again. Maybe as a whole, this verse too.
Yeah, full speed.
Yeah,
let's try it.
Whatever.
Which.
And once again, you can hear the importance of the crescendo at the end. So Hugo is not palm muting the last notes, not choking them, but really trying to play it open. And same for me, I have this volume swell thing going on normally, which you can replicate with your volume knob, obviously, but live we will do it with a Kemper automation once again. Kemper is so great for such things.
Yeah.
Again, you want to really pay attention to the dynamics. So try to play this part really soft as a whole. And even maybe for my chords, try to play it a little bit laid back. As I said, maybe when you do these brushes on the guitar, try to maybe start on the beat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And so the rest of the notes will be a little bit laid back. That's really the feeling you're aiming for here. Something open and kind of laid back.
Yeah, I think we can advertise it pretty well, actually. I think we use it at well, it has a lot of function, and we use it a lot of them as well.
We're close to the maximum capacity of all the functions. You can't see it, but on the Kemper, you can have like 8 slots to add in effects, 4 before the amp and 4 after the amp. And most of the time, we use like at least 6 out of the 8, I think. Some being EQs or delays or reverbs, but we use it pretty much to its maximum.
Yeah.
Also, we use like the morph function that we just discussed to do these automations. And also we use like in terms of the preset storage. Now we have to think about what we're going to do for the next record, because we are using the maximum 128 presets almost already. So it's going to be.
Yeah, we will have to make some compromise.
All right. Then we jump back to the chorus, and we discussed that already. Because now it's the intro riff with vocals, which we have already dissected. And after that, we jump to that really, my favorite part of the song, the open interlude. It was really a long crescendo with more lays being added. I can't wait to discuss that in more details next week. But first, let's have a look at what happens on the guitars. So I'm doing nothing at all in the beginning, so that's easy.
I have 3 chords. We have a C minor at 9 here.
It's a nice inversion.
Well, at least, yeah. And the fact that we don't play that note, is really bothering, because we have to mute the B string, because this is definitely not part of the chord. And I have to mute it with my index finger here, which is not really that hard. But right before that, we have that chord. And to switch from one chord to another smoothly is really much more difficult than it looks like. this is very subtle, just to press gently on the string to mute it and not playing it, So that's pretty much it. And right after, which is it? This is a G minor.
Yeah, but with C in the bass.
Yeah.
So it's a G minor, bass C.
And then I think a C power chord here.
Again with, yeah, but inverted again, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, since there is a C on the bass, I consider this one as But yeah, it is an inverted power chord of C. That's it, pretty much it.
It's really open harmony here.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned already last time, sometimes getting these chords with some tricky fingerings can be more challenging than playing fast runs or whatever. So it's really a different part of your job as a guitar player to get these to really sound soft, but still really precise with every note ringing out the way it should.
Yeah. And can the Kemper mute the D string? I'm sure it can. We have to find it.
There's probably something here. Something you have to click, like mute the D string.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google on some Kemper nerd forums or something. They might know the answer.
I have to erase the exact frequency of that string.
Yeah, that will work. And all the harmonics. That might be a lot trickier, but
not the other strings, which will be pretty difficult. All right, what do we have next? I have some other chords. What it is? It still is an G minor at 9, but inverted.
Nice inversions.
What's next? Yep, you're here. What's that chord?
I don't know if I can name it.
Okay.
But what's important here, I think, is the descending motion.
Yeah.
This note descending here, and this note descending here.
Okay.
So if you have a look at the intervals here, it's basically you have the root, you have the fifth, and you have the ninth, I think. So yeah, pretty some like sus2 chord here, I think, inverted again. Yeah, it's basically a C sus2 inverted.
Okay. And then
again, this is G over C, G minor over C.
Something happened here.
Yeah. A harmonic motion here.
I'm not sure about that one, but that one. Yeah. Do you have a name for it or
this one?
Yeah.
It's diminished power chord, basically.
Okay.
It can be seen as the 2 in the key.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, in C. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So here is just like a 2-5-1 arpeggiated.
Okay.
You can see it's also done in the bass. At this moment, I'm lost. Yeah, there are 2. 5, and then here inversion, and you can go back to the root.
But I think more information about that next week.
Yeah, to keep it guitar oriented here.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are some inversions. You can do a lot of really cool stuff with inversions. Like I would recommend you practice that, because I don't see a lot of that in metal, basically. But you can just try to practice your inversions on simple chords. For example, this C minor. I would recommend you to find some nice inversions for it, because you really can get different sounds out of it. And then the last one would be like, this. Individual note being on the bass, and then you move just every note up the scale. And this is basically how I came up with these chords. I wanted this sound here, but with a different voicing, basically. And so yeah, you can come up with some cool inversions, spread the notes out, and it sounds kind of open and cool in that way.
Yeah. Just don't forget that little slide here. Which are cool, I think.
Maybe let's play through that part.
Yep.
And see what else comes in. Full speed, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, for Hugo's part, we pretty much said it.
Yep.
Some arpeggios with a descending motion. And yeah, try to... what effects do you use for this live?
Let me check.
I think a delay for sure.
Delay, chorus, reverb, I think. That's the usual trio.
Yeah, the magical trio. We play a lot with chorus on our guitar sound. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. Especially for clean and crunch stuff. Maybe you can play it with the actual sound.
Okay, that might be the actual sound we use live. And that's it.
Yeah, does Val also play these chords? No, he basically follows the kick drum on this to really give that drum and bass. It's basically a drum and bass based part, I think. So
yeah.
No, absolutely not. That would sound horrible on the bass, I think. And yeah, for this chord, you mean? Yeah, if you play it with a barré, with a bar chord, it's going to be quite tricky, I think, to get it right.
Actually, no.
You do it with a...
I think he's talking about that one.
But he plays with 10 with the bar chord. So
okay, sorry.
Yeah. This might be tricky.
Yep.
So what else was going on here? So I'm back with this kind of funk rhythm, which is in French is called the cocotte again. And the same thing applies here. We have to keep all your ghost notes even. And that is especially true with this part here, where I changed the strings, but you can see what's really important. I keep the same strings for the ghost notes because I want to keep the same sound. And let me demonstrate that. You see, even if I'm doing this, I could just like do the ghost notes wherever my finger goes, but I try to still keep it on this exact spot here to have the same, like just soft sound that stays always the same, not to give it too much focus. You see, if the sound was changing, it would really, I think, ruin the mood of this particular part here. We try to keep the ghost notes to sound the same all the time. That's basically it. And then what happens next when I leave this part behind is that I'm joining the bass, basically, on what the bass is doing. And I'm basically doing... And again here, what's really important is the places where little rests. So you don't want to have these notes ring through, at least not yet. parts yet because you really have these rests to be very clean. And as I said, I'm basically following the bass just to thicken it up a little bit. And there are a couple of things that are worth noticing here. In terms of what I'm doing rhythmically, it's basically mirroring what we were doing in the opening riff. I mean, I'm playing on the beats here, and then I'm playing on the second triplet with my main notes, and that's exactly what's happening here again. Let me play it slowly with the Guitar Pro. It's on the beat. Second triplet. On the beat. Third triplet. So it's really the same thing that's happening in the intro, but with little different notes and a little different harmony. But you can see it's basically the same rhythmical idea. So if you nailed the intro, it's really going to help here.
But there is one note that you keep on the snare, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
Even
exactly.
if you move the other notes.
Exactly.
One stays at the same place.
It's this here. And this is something that I really love to do when I'm writing my bass lines, is to really have the bass follow the kick and the snare. And on the kick, you want to have all your low notes, like here. And on the snare, you can add a treble note, and this is where the snare lies. And you can add a treble note because obviously the snare has a much higher pitched sound than the kick. So it really works well to have that kind of feel, with the high note being on the snare and the low notes being on the kick. And this is why on the guitar there's one note that always remains on the same spot, and it's where the snare falls here. So let's do it again and try to pay attention to this note always being on the snare. You can really hear it, how I'm really locked in. I really have to be locked in with the drums here. And yeah, there's another thing that should be mentioned here, is that you really have to aim for a really crunchy sound, not high gain, and also try to pick your notes really soft. You don't want to dig into the notes just yet. That's for later. But here, you really want to play it softly. And really controlled. And one thing that's really important is this slide here, that actually is meant to lead you back to this opening note. It's right where the mouse is. So we try to make it sound a little bit laid back also. Stay your note and then slide back to the first one. So yeah, try to keep a smooth attack. Try to keep your palm mutes also very even, which is going to be hard when you're doing a smooth attack like this. Because yeah, you don't have a lot of gain, so every little variation in your picking intensity is going to be heard, I think. So really try to make it really even. And try to pay attention to the rests we talked about. Basically, that's it. This long part is just a long build-up for the next one. Shall we maybe start from here and play the next part?
Yep.
okay, we could play it at a slower speed. Same thing at full speed.
Yep.
And this is the right spot this time. Seems so fast now. Basically what's happening here, I think you have recognized it. It's the same rhythmical idea that I just played before, but with a completely different feel. So now all the little rests are gone. It's like in the intro, you want to have everything ring into the next note. So you're not doing anymore, but doing. All the rests are gone. You really want to have that wall of sound, that sustain. And so the single notes have turned into palm muted power chords. Where's my pick?
It happens.
Palm muted power chords. And again, on the snare, every time we're going to hit this one here, which is basically just a C minor, but basically the lowest C minor available on the 7-string guitar. And that open string here really gives it a nice sound. Every time you have open strings, they have a particular timbre, I think. It's really bright and open. And so you really want to dig into this chord to make it sound really gnarly, I would say.
Yeah. I really hate that position, but it sounds so good.
Yeah.
This is the we have to make some sacrifices.
You don't have to hit the B.
Without the B, yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. You have to be particularly careful because you can only descend to that point. This will sound like crap. Yeah. This is even worse. So yeah, really pay attention.
This is a minor chord with a major 7th, right?
Yeah, minor major 7, which is an amazing chord, but not in that context.
Not here, yeah. What picks do we use? For me, is this is the brand is Pick Boy. It's called like that. I think it's like carbon something, but I just do like they are really pointy, and I like it that way. Pretty much it.
Maybe you can show it to the camera.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll see anything.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Pick Boy, 1 millimeter, maybe just a little bit more.
For me, these are, I think, Fender extra heavy, like the celluloid pickups, I think. I've been using them for quite some time. I like the fact that they are quite big. I don't like jazz free pickups or smaller stuff like that. I really like to have something in my hand. They're quite good, but they are not very good in terms of duration. They how do you say that?
Yeah, not very durable.
Durable, yeah.
So you just buy a lot of them.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future because they used to sell on Thomann these big bags of like 144 pickups, I think.
That's it. Random number.
Totally random number. But actually, they don't do it in extra heavy anymore. So for now, I have still a lot of them remaining. But for after, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe that's gonna be the end of my guitar playing career.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good reason to stop, actually.
Yeah, I'm not producing my picks.
I'm sure it exists some picks that are basically indestructible, but I'm sure they're very pricey. But I don't found some that I don't how can I say? Yet I didn't find a brand of picks that didn't get used.
Used, yeah.
What's the term?
That's the word what I was
Yeah,
looking for. Usé.
yeah, that's it.
In French.
And yeah, because when we play metal, of course we play.
Worn off, exactly. Worn off.
Yeah, worn, exactly, worn off. And we like to scrap the picks on the strings a lot, and that worn the picks a lot. And yet I didn't find a brand that where the pick stays in good shape at last several days.
Yeah, metal picks may be the solution, but I think it will affect the sound also quite a lot, because I think the matter in which the pick is made of has a huge impact on the sound.
Exactly. And that's what I like, the pointy one. I like the sound it has. Actually, I've heard a greater difference when I switched from an old pick to a new than switching from old string to news. Actually, I found the difference even bigger with picks than with strings.
Yeah, you're right. I think when I play a brand new of these, it has really this particular sound that you kind of lose quite fast,
exactly.
like with new strings. But
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's on the same scale for me.
Mm.
Okay, back to this riff.
Yep.
So we were saying, getting this chord. Oh, one note too many. Sound really gnarly because of that open string.
Yeah.
And basically that's it. Try to dig into the palm mutes here. And since we already discussed it, it's the same rhythmical displacements that occur on the riff right before and also on the intro. So you really want to practice it slowly in order to really make sure you understand it properly. Let's do it again slowly, just to give you an idea.
Yep.
Oops. And there are two more things I want you to pay attention to. Just little details. The first one is here. These are not palm mutes, these are just ghost notes. And this is like a contrast where we have like this really subtle element thrown in between these heavy palm mutes and open notes. Basically, I try to pay attention to that. You have them quite light, I think, in comparison to the rest. And so they really stick out in some way. And the other detail is at the end, we kind of want to have a little crescendo again. On this here.
Yep.
Try to just, it's a short crescendo, but it's also done in the drums, if you listen to the record. And so it's really important to have it. It will really give a nice flavor to it. So going down briskly and opening before everything suddenly stops. It will have a really nice effect if you can nail this one. So, and then you switch to a soft part again. So getting loud and then right after getting quiet again. This will really make the difference in terms of how you manage your dynamics. All right, do you have something to add on this riff?
Not exactly.
Well, as you can see, we play the same riff, except for, I think, one instance where you harmonize what I play. Or two.
Just the end. Sorry, the transition between the two instances.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
But what I wanted to drag attention to is that there are a lot of layers going on here, which we're going to look at next week. But we still decided to do the same riff, to have both guitars do the heavy part, and that's something our sound engineer that does sound for us live really advised us to do, to really have the thickness of the two guitars, to really punch you in the face at that particular moment. And we choose to play all the other stuff, which is basically stuff we played before, to have them move to the samples, a little bit like you would do with like a loop pedal. You play something and then it lands in the samples right after. So in that case, we decided to go with both rhythm guitars. And I think we discussed that. It was the exact same idea in the Clockwork Expectation on this part. Where we chose to play this with two distorted guitars instead of having one continue to do the arpeggio, because it's all stuff you've heard before, and so it's kind of natural to have it in the samples, and it's also doubled by like synths and stuff. But you really have the impact of these two guitars doing the palm mutes together, the full stereo spectrum of the two guitars, the full thickness of it all. So yeah, that's why I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Almost done. Yeah, we just have a little transition. Where you are doing just a little arpeggio here.
Yep.
Again, another inversion of our minor add 9 arpeggio.
That's it.
Just basically just the top notes of this position here. But yeah, with a nice inversion, it gives a particular flavor to it. What I'm doing is playing the same rhythm. Not this one. It's here. Yeah, found it. But with a crunch tone now to really give it a more open flavor. And when the drums kick back in, we are back on tracks in comparison to when the first blast beat occurred. So it's going to be the same stuff, basically. Except for the ending, I think.
Yeah. The first blast beat had a stop. It had a rest. But then it just continued to another blast beat during the solo.
So in this case, you have a phrase that just continues, that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Exactly, to lead you smoothly into the next part.
Exactly.
Okay. Basically, that's it. Should we play this part?
Yeah.
It's going to be quite tricky to do the volume swell, but let's try it.
I have a pause, so I can. But you don't. Sorry, I got lost.
There's just a little variation here in the end, where I'm basically following the accents of the vocals of "Oh, bless God, sirs," with these chords here, and you can see I'm throwing just another extra chord here. This one here, which is basically just a G7, excuse me, to lead back to E minor. But that's basically the only variations here.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, sorry, it's kind of hard to follow the... Sometimes it's hard to follow the Guitar Pro blast beats as it lacks a bit of accent and dynamics.
They sound like crap.
I got lost, sorry.
Okay, and then we finally are on the solo.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is the same chord progression than the verse and the blast beat section.
Yeah, let's try to play it.
All right.
So I'm going to do a more theoretical analysis of this solo, I think, next week. But in terms of the techniques used, there are a lot of like these bends with rakes that I love to do, and also quite of a wide vibrato. I'm sorry. So yeah, really try to pay attention to the intention you put in your bends here. And then also with the slides, I'm doing a lot of these rakes. And it's contrasted with these kind of soft legato runs, chromatic legato runs actually here. And I'm also hitting some kind of a pinch harmonic here. And yeah, you kind of want to have the original pitch still ring and just have the harmonics to be a little bit more heard. So that's kind of tricky to do. On the record, I just picked the take I like the most for that particular note. But yeah, try to have something in between the pure harmonic and the note. You know what I mean? Yeah, something like I just played. Sounds nice. So yeah, you have this heavy contrast between, I think, these kind of aggressive bands and the smoother passages in between that connect everything. And then, let's see, we have this little run here. Again, this is an augmented arpeggio with some chromatics thrown in. How do I play that? And try to really make this band have a lot of feel to it. Then we have a little descending run here with some chromatics thrown in again. Sorry. So for the part I just discussed here, it's just legato and some chromatic notes thrown in. Other way around. And what's really important about the timing of this particular phrase here is that you want to play your notes really staccato, to have them really have a particular flair. Again, it's to give this solo a lot of contrast in comparison to, yeah, as I said, the wide bandings and vibrato. Here we have something a lot more staccato. And it's going to be the contrast here with the notes opening more and more until it ends on like a chord. Like this. So yeah, a lot of contrast, I think, in that solo. It's really short, but there's a lot of stuff happening, I think. Okay, I think I can play it with the Guitar Pro a little bit slower.
Yeah.
As I said, yeah, it's a really short solo, but I wanted to keep the solo short in that instance because, yeah, the statement was basically made. There's a lot happening in a short amount of time and didn't really need to be longer, in my opinion. Just to stay in the energy of the song. So again, yeah, a lot of chromatic stuff, a lot of, yeah, my signature sound, like you said, these chromatisms, this mixture between like these really wide and reiki bands and the wide vibrato, mixed with these gentle legato lines and everything. And yeah, as I said, a lot of contrast with the staccato in the end. So we try to mimic that contrast. And also, like, yeah, in the sweep picking part, like here, and the other one goes. Try to have something really fluid, not to have too much attack in your notes, except for the ending where I try to dig in a little bit more, again to give it a lot of contrast in between the different notes and parts of the solo. And yeah, I think that's it for the solo. Can maybe do it once more at full speed for you.
Yep.
And yeah, as I said, next week we're going to do more theoretical analysis, where I think I can go a lot more into the notes themselves and how they follow the chord progression.
Ready?
Yeah.
Everything okay. Yeah, monkeys in front of the keyboard.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I think a solo should always serve the music. In that case, I think it's really a little bit more of the free interpretation of the harmony, because yeah, as we said, it's the same chord progression that guides us through the verses and to these blast beat parts. And yeah, for this solo, it's just like a lot more free, like this free interpretation of the same stuff with something a lot more open, with a lot of chromaticisms and everything. And yeah, I think it really complements the song well. It's really trying to mimic a little bit what the expression that you can put in vocals, for example. And it's not about like mindless sweeps. So, for example, it's really about creating an atmosphere for this.
Yeah, of course. I was a mindless sweep arpeggio guy during my teenage years when I discovered technical death metal. But I think a lot of people did that before.
Totally.
Yeah, I
did it as well.
And yeah, it was really fun. But yeah, when I became a little bit more mature, yeah, I do prefer some nice phrases, and yeah, I've grown up, I think.
Yeah, but they're still cool, I think. But yeah, it's really a certain it's really a certain vibe again. Yeah, and Slayer solos are something else.
Yeah,
that's the other extreme.
Another level here.
All right, I think we're nearly at the end of the song now. It just gets back to the opening riff, with just a tiny little bit of a variation in the end. Let's play this outro here with the variation. So yeah, the variation is in the very last bar of the song. And basically it gives you the impression of slowing down, basically. Instead of we are slowing down more, putting basically more space in between our notes. We are waiting one more triplet each time, and it really gives it a conclusive vibe. For the very end of the song, you have that impression that the music slows down, but the tempo stays steady, and what really slows down is basically the amount of notes you play, or I think you get it. And this one also is kind of tricky to get right, so I would really recommend that you play it slowly, again to really get the distinction between this and the part before. but then pay attention to the same stuff here. Practice slowly, make sure you nail every note where it's supposed to be. And then I think you'll get it. And that's it for this song,
Yeah.
I think. I hope you enjoyed this. And as I said, next week we're going to dive more into the theory, and especially on this song, on the arrangement. Because, in terms of theory, there's not so much going on here. It's pretty simple elements being used. Maybe apart from the rhythm or whatever, which is kind of intricate. But, the most important things happening in this song, I think, are the arrangements and everything. Because they're always the same elements being used, but arranged in a different way, with different rhythms, with different textures and everything. So we're gonna listen to a lot of the album recordings, the album stems, with all the different lays next time. So I think this can also be interesting for people that are not necessarily musicians, or not necessarily like guitar players or whatever, because it's really about the sound, textures and everything. So I'm really looking forward to do that, because for me that's what makes this song special to me. All right. If you guys have any questions, we can stay just a couple more minutes for you. I just want to remind you guys that if you like what you just heard, feel free to support us by maybe pre-ordering our new record or whatever. Anything would help. You can also make donations by clicking the button below this video. That also would help us out a lot. And also, I want to let you guys know that we are starting a new format on this channel. We're going to do the Fractal Talks, which is basically us inviting some guests to talk to them about what they do. And we're going to start with inviting some people that worked on the project, worked on the band, because you might know that this band is not only the 4 musicians. The band is also, and basically any band is also all the people around the musicians helping the project to happen, basically. So you have the producer, the guy that basically mixes and masters the record. You have our live team that makes it possible for us to sound and look good on stage. You have also all the artwork happening and everything. So the band is not just the musicians, and that's what we're going to try to highlight in these sessions. So our first guest will be Shad, which is the guy that designed all our artworks since the beginning of the band, and basically all our stage decorations as well, and all our t-shirts, all our merchandise. It's all this guy, and we're going to have the pleasure of having him on Sunday at 7 p.m.?
7 p.m., yeah.
7 p.m. Central Europe time. And it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about who he is, basically. What's his experience and everything, how he became the artist he is.
Yeah, how we ended up working with him.
Absolutely, and also we're gonna dissect every one of the artworks he did for us. So from Boundaries of Reality to The Impossible Horizon, we're gonna have a look at each of them and talk also about his other projects and everything. So make sure to be there on Sunday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Do you wanna say something?
No, you said it all.
Okay. So definitely stay tuned for that.
And thank you, Willy, for ordering our album. Oh, thank you, Cyril, again, for your 25 euros.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. I hope we'll meet again soon at a show, maybe.
Maybe some of you guys have seen that we have announced our first show in 1 year and a half.
That's it.
Almost. Basically, it's going to be the release party of our new record. It's going to be on July the 3rd at Le Godard Plus in Nilvange, which is very close to where we rehearse, actually, in eastern France. And it's going to be the first show in a very long time, and we are really looking forward to it. And if some of you guys are from that area, we hope to see you there. It's going to be a seated concert, unfortunately, but still, it's going to be a concert, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I would recommend that you grab your tickets because of the seating thing that's happening. The capacity of the venue is quite reduced to only 150 seats. So if you want to attend, make sure to grab your ticket. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Is there anything I should mention as well? Oh, I think I should remind you guys that we have launched this Symmetrical Guitar Challenge, which basically challenges you to play the opening riff to that track. So if you want to give it a try, feel free. Again, this riff is not as challenging as the one from Clockwork.
Yeah.
Apart from the rhythm, I think. So maybe some of you guys can try it. You just need a 7-string guitar tuned to B standard. And you can head over to our social media. You have a link to download backing tracks, the tabs.
If you have a 6-string tuned to B standard, it would work as well, I think.
I think you just need like 4 strings. I think
3
doesn't
maybe.
go- Oh yeah, if you don't play the harmony, just 3 strings.
Yeah.
So you can play it also on a ukulele, maybe,
Yeah.
tuned to C.
On your 3 strings guitar, yeah.
Yeah, you can just cut off all the strings. You don't need them.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
To end the transmission, here's some mindless sweeping that I used to do with my previous band when I was a teen. It went for something like that. And I was actually really proud to nail it. But yeah, now it's kind of mindless, as you said. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, with a metalcore rhythmic like that under it. Something like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
It was a fun times, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not easy to do. I couldn't do it, I think.
Yeah.
I've lost all my sweep picking skills because
I was proud, actually, back in the days.
Oh, but we did some mindless stuff like that on Boundaries of Reality.
No, it just became a Ring of Satan song. Okay.
Which key is it in?
Just play the D, I play the C sharp.
I was playing B. I played the D, okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's how you play Rings of Saturn.
It wasn't so bad.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
this
then-
could have happened on stage.
Okay.
Amazing. Okay. Hope you guys are going to play that as well.
It will be
cover
the
of
next,
the-
the next challenge.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I
Thank
think
you.
that's it for today.
Thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you and hope to see you guys on Sunday. That's going to be really cool. I'm excited about having our first guest here on the channel. And yeah, if you are interested in artworks and everything, that should definitely be for you guys. Something different on this channel for once.
À la prochaine.
See you guys. Have a nice evening.
Cheers.